So we got the famous Trent Peters in the house today.
Hello.
Trent Peters, Umbrella Managed Systems. That wasn't your original name, though, was it?
It was Umbrella Medical Systems back in the day. We were focusing on the healthcare vertical there, and then we started taking on a bunch of general business clients. I think we landed like a mega church, and we were like, okay, this name's not going to stick anymore. So we didn't want to change the URL. So it was umbrella-ms.com. So we just changed it to Umbrella Managed Systems instead.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys didn't want to go with like Umbrella Religious IT Services or
No,
anything
we thought
like
about
that?
it. I mean, it was a really fun client. We've had them for 20 years. So, but no, we stuck with just general managed systems.
Nice. I remember, you in the peer group, you definitely had your fair share of medical.
Yeah.
You made that conscious choice back in 2013, I believe, when you changed.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
So founded in 2007, exit June 30th, 2023.
Yep.
Is that about right?
Got it.
Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about your journey, kind of where you started, some of the highlights. Obviously, you and I have talked a little bit about our discussion today. So first off, like going back to the very beginning, like what got you started in the MSP space? Did you start as a traditional IT person where you were trading your time for dollars? Were you always managed services? What did you really envision initially as your growth path?
Sure. So like quick backstory, I always was passionate about IT and computers growing up. It was after high school, I moved up to Kansas City and went to DeVry. Post DeVry, I got a job with a local IT company called Tech Guys. And that's when I met one of my kind of founders or mentors, I should say, who's been with me kind of today as a business coach. Jeff Shagford. So he kind of really ignited that entrepreneur itch in me. He's had a few businesses before. And so he gave me a few books like The E-Myth, Winning Every Day, all these books about entrepreneurship and kind of doing your own thing. So I was there for about 2 years at this kind of time materials, really small IT shop. And then I moved on to the corporate world. I worked for Cerner, which is bought by Oracle, huge healthcare IT EMR for hospital systems organization. So I did the corporate thing for like 3 years.
Yep.
Got my soul sucked right out of me. I was young, and hungry, and meetings and bureaucracy. I just wanted no part of that. And so I was really looking for a change, and I think I was just young and dumb enough to be like, hey, I can do my own thing. Luckily enough, I had a good friend, Heath Stover, who became my business partner. We were 50-50. We went to school together.
Okay, I was going to say, so how did you know Heath? You guys went to school, like
we
both
met
of you were at DeVry?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We both, we were, one day we started talking to each other. Thank God, a normal person at DeVry. So we became like best friends. We lived really close to each other in downtown Kansas City, a couple blocks away. And so we started talking about this, and he had a brother who graduated from chiropractic school and was opening up his own chiropractic office. So we went down there and helped him set up his network, just a server and like 6 PCs, install his EMR system and all this stuff. We did it for like a case of beer. And, on the way back to Kansas City, we literally getting out of the cab back in the day, we were like, hey, we should think about doing this for real, start business. And,
oh yeah.
Let's think about that.
That was so easy and so much fun.
Yeah. That was like the first time we were like, yeah, let's think about it. So we spent a year kind of in my garage, writing on the walls, business plans and whatnot. And fortunately, we were right at the time when like MSP, like the concept of a managed service provider and doing IT work, subscription-based model really started become a thing, right? It was pretty much time materials there. So thankfully, we knew we wanted to start as an MSP, and we were able to kind of avoid that time materials trap, which I think a lot of companies started as time materials and had to make that transition to MSP. We were fortunate to always kind of start as an MSP. So yeah, I mean, we decided to pull the trigger. Heath was a little bit hesitant on that. I was a little more gung ho on it. We went and I got $10,000 from my parents, 10K from my grandparents, and he got 10K from his parents. We had $30,000 to like start a business.
Wow.
Well, we could, yeah, I know it sounds like a lot, right? 30K runway. We went and talked to, God, I think it was like 10 banks. 8 of them just laughed at us. One said, you give us the 30K as collateral, we'll hold it in escrow, and we'll give you a 40K line of credit. Okay.
Nice.
Fortunately, that last one, God, Carol Blinkowski was her name, and she was great. She was like, yeah, let's do this. We'll get you a small business loan. We'll walk you through the 7A program, and we'll get you, you can keep your money, and we'll get you a 40K line of credit. So we had the money, quit my job, just shocked Heath. I don't think he was ready. 3 days later, I made him quit.
So 30 grand in the bank, 40 grand line of credit on an SBA 7A loan.
Yep.
And you went full send.
Yep. Nothing but dreams. We're too dumb to fail.
And how many clients did you have at this point that were paying you?
Clients, we didn't even think that we needed that. We didn't think about that until later, right? Shockingly, fast forward a year later, we had made, I think, a total revenue of it was like $1,000 year one.
Nice.
It's like, yeah, sweet,
huge. And were you married at the time, Trent?
I wasn't married because my wife was pregnant at the time.
Oh, perfect.
When I quit my job, we just burned the ships. There's no going back, right?
Yeah.
God, I'm surprised I'm still married. My oldest is now in college. So that's how long it took to
wow. Awesome. And I'm sure the father-in-law absolutely loved this decision that his daughter was making. Yeah, I'm going to get married. I'm going to get pregnant. And oh, by the way, my husband just quit his job. He's going to be an entrepreneur.
I think, looking back, we had a lot of support, but it was just like, sure, okay, go start your business. Have fun. So it was, we were lucky to have a lot of support. But it was not to say we had no idea what we were doing. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Funny to hear that you guys started out in school at DeVry. Myself personally, I started from a technical trade school as well. Went to a school called CEI, did their 8-month program, got my MCSE. And then oddly enough, as soon as I got my MCSE and graduated the school, they asked me to teach for them. So I'm going, all right, well, must be hiring some high quality instructors. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So kind of looking at the early stages, what were some of the significant challenges? Like you started with 0 clients, you had 0 revenue. I think you got a huge leg up on a lot of people that started MSPs. When I started, we were time and material. We sold block time. Loved that stuff.
Right.
And then we had to figure out how to transition into subscription. But what were some of the challenges that you and Heath faced when you first started?
Sure. I mean, when we first started, it was, it was just the 2 of us, right? So, we try to focus a lot on establishing our kind of service offering.
Yep.
I remember it took me like 3 months to pick an RMM, right? And that was kind of like a new thing back in the day. And I struggled with Enable for like 3 months to get it to work as I wanted it to work. And finally I said, screw this, ditched it. It was an old RMM called like Hound Dog.
Nice.
GFI back in the day. If like a server went down, like the dashboard would like bark at you. I mean, it was janky, right? So it's just, we went into it just with nothing. So a lot of it was just getting established. I remember a year into it, we had kind of this board of advisors, just kind of trusted friends and business owners. And I remember we sat them down, and one of them was my uncle, who's a successful entrepreneur. And we were about a year into it, and he's looking at our numbers, and we prepared all these reports, and we were giving this kind of presentation. He's like, whoa, stop. He's like, you guys have 0 revenue. Like, what are you doing about that? And we're like, okay, you're right. So I think we struggled a lot with like, what direction do we go? Like, we were in peer groups with 0 coaching. I mean, just Googling, trying to figure this stuff out by ourselves. And so We really hammered down on networking and going out into the community, trying all the marketing efforts and whatnot, and just really talking to vendors and other people in the industry, healthcare organizations, healthcare vendors, and things like that in the same vertical. So yeah, establishing service offering, just kind of getting our bearings as far as what we're going to do to get clients. And to that point, I mean, we were fortunate in 2008, the recession, the Healthcare Act, the ARAA was part of that, had that high tech act to help doctors convert from paper based to electronic medical records. They incentivized that, and so that was kind of a really big shot to the arm with that. So we were able to, in conjunction with other service providers in the industry, electronic medical records vendors, digital scanning companies, kind of partner up and really leverage each other's networks and pull each other into deals. So that really helped establish a lot of our initial growth as far as establishing ourselves in the healthcare vertical. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned an advisory group that was kind of helping you out. You mentioned at one point Peer, and looking back at how I know you, I met you in Peer, right? I met both
Yep.
you and Heath. You guys were already pretty far along on your journey. Had an amazing company at that point, figuring out how to grow it and scale it at an even greater pace when I met you. But how did you come to find Peer?
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's actually a long story. Heath was actually the one who first established True Methods. Was I guess the first effective peer group. There's a few others, service leadership, I think, some informal ones around Kansas City, really focused on kind of general business leadership. But it really was once we got into True Methods, with the framework they have laid out, the ability to meet with other peers in the same boat. You can learn lessons from what they've done, what's successful for them, and their failures, and help them out, and really kind of establish that community, I guess, of friends and like-minded individuals that want to help grow your business, right? And so that was a huge turning point. I think that was about 15 years into the business is when we first did True Methods, and that was a really big springboard, and I would say one of the probably most pivotal moments to help us really scale and ultimately exit the business. And some individual coaching along the way.
Yeah.
We I can't tell you how many times we tried to focus on establishing a sales team or some sort of sales function within the organization, and we failed. I mean, it's a lot. And we did owner-led sales for 15 years, and we just kind of flailed forward, right? I mean, it was just like, Heath would do 50%. Well, we say Heath did 60%, I did 60% of sales, right? I mean, it was just overlap, and nobody really had the accountability for that. Nobody really wanted to do it. So we were successful in growing the business, but we really weren't as purposeful about sales and growth as we should have been in the early years. It wasn't until Doug Diamond, True Methods, that we really started to focus on sales marketing and grow at a more consistent rate, I would say.
So was it just a heightened focus in on sales and marketing? Was it a specific team that you'd set up, process? What did that sales and marketing look like? That kind of fueled that growth leading into the exit for you.
Yeah, I mean, again, we failed so many times before. I mean, we hired sales guys, high dollar sales guys who did nothing because we had zero support system or zero sort of leadership in sales. We hired, an ISR to make calls, and again, we just, that kind of worked, and just nobody really knew how to manage that person. It wasn't effective, and it wasn't until we really got into Methods and had that accountability in conjunction to just our business being at a state that would help support and allow us to focus on that sales and marketing as well. That really allowed us to kind of establish, grow, and kind of thrive in sales and marketing.
No, that's awesome. So from a size standpoint, where were you from top line revenue when you kind of came into that peer group leading up to, your growth, which was very explosive there at the end.
Jeez.
I mean, I had a front row seat to this. So watching you guys, stack MRR on top of MRR on top of MRR was awesome. And then ultimately, the negotiation and the exit, it's some cool stuff that we'll talk about.
Wow,
But do you remember where you were
you
at?
just shove like 6 years of memories into like 10
Yeah.
seconds there. I think we were like maybe 2.5, 2 million top line when we first
Yep.
came into True Methods. I think we were sitting at like was it an 8 run rate when we left? Does that sound
Hmm.
about right? I
Yep.
think it was about right. So we really kind of hockey sticked up there at the end when everything was firing on all cylinders, and
Yeah.
we had the sales engine. Plus, we were getting lucky with deals, and I mean we were banging out. I think we did 100K MRR the year before we exited. Um,
Of
New logo.
new MRR logo. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
looking at
Yeah.
the partnership, you and Heath definitely have a unique partnership. Sitting inside of Peer as many years as I have, I've seen a lot of partners. Your guys' partnership, one of the best. When you look at the partnership and the division of roles, where was your specialty? Where was Heath's? Like I still see some of the spreadsheets that Heath created when he was at Umbrella, and some of those spreadsheets post Umbrella and post exit spreadsheets. I kind of know what his strong suit was, but in your
Yeah.
own words, like what did this look like? What did you handle? What did Heath handle?
Yeah, I was super fortunate to have Heath as my business partner, and it's wasn't easy. It was just like a marriage. I mean, it was ups and downs, right? I mean, there's times where we wanted to kill each other, and to this day we're still best friends. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm fortunate to have him in my right. I mean, definitely wouldn't have been. I'd be at 100K MR, time and material about Heath right now. Back in those early days in the garage, we used to write on the walls kind of our business plan. And I have a picture of one where it said Heath equals operations and like money stuff and Trent technical stuff. And so it was like somewhere along the line, we decided, okay, that would be the role. And I think that, it's probably a double-edged sword there, but I was mainly focused on technical and service delivery, and he was business operations and finance for vast majority of the growth. And was a real big help because I think we were both, we were having dual leaders in the organization. A lot of times allowed us to kind of divide and conquer, and we were both passionate and we both wanted to grow the business. We saw eye to eye on all the big stuff. So that really helped us, I think, in the long term. But it was hard work and definitely close to blowing up the organization a few times, without getting off too much of a tangent. We had a sister company and there was, we thought about merging with this other company.
Uh-huh.
This is back in the healthcare heydays. And
What did the other company do?
so release of information. So the process of distributing medical records out of healthcare organizations to patients, life insurance,
Yeah.
other healthcare organizations. A lot of it is like state mandated fees to do that, and it's kind of a hassle. And there's a lot of HIPAA landmines in that process.
Yeah,
So
makes total sense.
a lot
Grab
of
your
healthcare
MSP,
organizations
grab this
choose.
company, put it together. Like what
Yeah,
could go wrong?
what could go wrong? Right? Two businesses. We really saw. I mean, the appeal to that organization was its scalability. Where a lot of times MSPs are focused on delivering the service with boots on the ground
Yep.
in their region, in their city. That service could be delivered nationwide, remotely. Right? There's no reason to go on site. So it was appealing because of the scalability, and we ended up growing that company to about $20 million. Anyway, long story short,
Nice.
part of that initial merger failure was a messy divorce. I went and worked for that other organization for 3 years during the kind of the growth phase of Umbrella.
So you left Umbrella,
Yep.
went over worked at this other organization for 3 years. Left Trent on his own.
Heath on his own.
Or
Yeah.
Heath
Well,
on
we
his
were
own.
both on
Yeah.
our own. Yeah. We were miserable. Those were the dark days of both our lives, to be honest.
Wow.
Heath did a great job just maintaining Umbrella.
Yeah.
Part of that deal was just to get to kind of earn some equity in that sister company.
Yep.
And once that was up, I came back to Umbrella right around the same time. We started with True Methods as well. Cleaned up, had to fire a whole bunch of people, changed our stack, and really kind of righted the ship, I would say. And then along with True Methods, we were really able to kind of get unstuck and then really start to thrive.
So when you're looking at that the change and that difference, right? So you were out of the business 3 years, came back in. Heath was running it on his own, going one direction. Joining True Methods. True Methods has got a very unique framework from service delivery. What were some of the metrics? What were the things that you were managing the day-to-day off of in order to know if you guys were headed in the right direction once you came back?
Yeah, I mean, at that time we used Tony to do kind of a boot camp and come in
Tony
and
Williams.
yeah, and do the so we had maybe 50 KPIs that we would track like on a weekly day-to-day basis. Um, a lot of it had to do with operations, ticket per closure per tack and things like that. We established some client satisfaction metrics, which I think helped with that feedback. And at the same time, we established the VCIO role and just kind of restructured our teams. I think originally when I came back, we were in pods, and we ended up service delivery pods.
Yep.
And while that worked, again, I don't think it would have led to super scalable organization, and kind of we were disconnected in a lot of places and had a little bit of bloat in that management level. And so came back, and over time we established a really strong leadership team, got rid of the pods, and kind of got more operational control on all aspects of our business rather than, in an MSP lifetime, there's always going to be like one department or one function that's kind of out of whack.
Totally.
Which is okay, right? And if you get two out of whack, the wheels start to wobble on the bus a little bit. If you have three out of whack, I mean, it's just going crazy, right? Like you're just fighting fires all day.
Yeah,
you're just
you got a class 4 dumpster fire at that point.
Class 5 dumpster fire, right? And then then you lose your big client, and that's when life sucks.
Biggest client leaves, best employee leaves, and then you're kind of like sitting there holding the bag, going like, "What do we do now?"
Yeah, the bag in one hand, glass of whiskey in the other, going, what am I doing with my life? It sucks. So fixing those individual functions and teams and just kind of solidifying those one at a time, was a huge help with Tony and True Methods and being able to kind of get
did you have you had some operational leadership that was on your team that was absolutely fantastic too. You want to talk real quickly about what did that look like and how you got that set up for success?
Changed throughout the years, right? But I think the most successful was when we were able to hire our chief operating officer. So Jean, fantastic gal. We worked with her for years. She was with me over at the sister company and COO over there. So just wildly experienced and just smart and just calm, right? I mean, nothing phased her in MSP. You're fighting fires constantly. So great with people. I mean, I was a horrible manager. I learned how to manage running the business, not the best way to do it. She was an expert leader from day one, right? So she was just this calming stability factor and fantastic, right? And so once we were able to really get to a point where we could establish that strong leadership role, I think it all just kind of flows downhill from there. Putting in that mid-level manager role, we started to have directors at one point. You have that HR function hammered out, hiring and firing, performance reviews, all that stuff. Was really under Jean. So she did a fantastic job and allowed us to, Ethan and I, really to focus on strategy and growth and leadership role. So yeah, that was a huge turning point for us too.
So from an employee standpoint count, do you remember where you were right before exit?
I think we were right around 50.
That's a sizable company at that point.
Yeah, it definitely was. I remember going to the last Christmas party, and I didn't know a few of the faces there, so it was a little awkward.
Super awkward.
It's like it's to that point where you're not making the hiring anymore, and at tail end, you're not actively involved in the day to day. So
arguably probably making better hires at that point too, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've all made great hires and horrible hires, right? And nothing's worse than making that hire and you're all gung ho about it. Oh, this is going to fix all my problems.
Absolutely. Here comes the savior in this one area, and then you realize, holy smokes, this person was not the person I hired.
I just need to spend more money on the VCIO, and they'll fix everything. We've all been there. But Jean was a huge pivotal point of it, the growth of Umbrella.
Yeah, I got to know Jean really well. It's looking back at our time together inside of Peer, got to know you very well, Heath very well, and then got to become very envious of Gene.
Yeah,
Gene did phenomenal work, took a brunt off of both your shoulders and executed on all these crazy things that you come back from our peer meetings with. So
yeah.
Godspeed to Gene, that's for sure.
Very, very fortunate to have Jean in my life, and it was great. It's been great, and she's awesome.
Now, kind of looking at the exit and the transition, how did you know, you were ready for transaction? Was it just an opportunity that arose, or were you and Heath intentional about seeking out, like the best suitor in this? What did that look like, kind of there before you guys ended up going down that path?
Sure. Heath and I were fortunate again to be aligned at the highest level. And we always knew we wanted to start this company and then eventually sell it, and have an exit. None of us wanted to, pass it on to the next generation or anything like that. So we always knew that was the finish line there. With that North Star, like we knew kind of where we wanted to be. And towards the end, we kind of took a look at the market and realized that, okay, the valuations are kind of getting to the point now where we think we may be getting close to our numbers. And so, yeah, we decided to kind of dabble into it, and we met some fantastic people with some great experience, and really had some great guidance in that area. And we realized that the business was worth more than we thought it was. At the tail end of that, we were operationally in a great place. Sales and marketing was firing. Net profit was right where we wanted it to be.
Every one of the metrics that we looked at inside of Peer on a monthly and a quarterly basis, they were all in that super green category.
Yeah,
Everything that needed to go up and to the right was going up into the right. You mentioned it earlier, like hockey stick. That's exactly what all your metrics look like, from finances to sales to operations. And I think it's
yeah,
probably a little bit more accurate to describe it as a rocket ship. But that rocket ship was pulling for a couple years, looking at trailing 12 and trailing 24 months. Like you guys you were
yeah.
on a great path.
We put a lot of hard work into it, and we were really proud of the business we had. And some of it was like, holy crap, everything's going great, quick, sell it. Let's get out of here. This isn't sustainable. No, 20 years doing it, we were both kind of done.
Yeah.
We put so many sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears in this business, and we knew, we were both at the time where we knew it was time to sell. At that point, Heath, around COVID times, Heath moved to Costa Rica, so a lot of the charm of having your business partner there every single day and working with him was kind of a little bit missing there. I mean, the business still ran perfectly fine, and it was just time to kind of start considering moving on. And when we did, we found great opportunities. So we decided to
Yeah,
pull
so
the trigger.
when you were looking at these companies that were, ultimately the suitors, right? They were really interested in Umbrella, really interested in you and Heath, really loved what you guys had built. What were some of the things that you were looking at, like your must-haves from like a culture standpoint or value standpoint? How did you know that you had the right companies, looking at your organization and knowing that it would be to the best of your knowledge or ability as well, that the company would be in good hands post transition?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it, culture and values, right? Was a big part of it. There's also, even before that though, there's kind of structure. Do we want to be a bolt on? Did we want to talk to PEs, maybe become a platform MSP? And we wanted to exit the organization pretty quickly. We had a really strong leadership team. Ethan and I both felt like the organization, I mean, we could step away, and while culture and growth would potentially be impacted, the organization would still run. So especially with Gene at the helm there. So we weren't pivotal in the organization. I mean, that's actually a good thing, right? I mean,
Yep.
so long, like you're in the middle and the thing would fall apart without the leaders there. But we were lucky we were at that point. So we knew we wanted to exit, have a relatively quick transition. We didn't want to become a platform. We didn't necessarily want to stick around. We still wanted opportunities for the rollover equity. So we kind of had kind of an idea in our mind. And from there, we were able to work our networks and find organizations that, were starting their journey, acquiring good companies, acquiring quality MSPs. We didn't want to be, an MSP that's going to come in and, fire half the staff and
Yep.
optimize and anything like that. And somebody who had the same kind of service delivery model as us. We're going to take care of our clients at the same kind of, foresight into where the industry was going and how to deliver the services in kind of the same way we were doing it a little bit, right? So, yeah, it just kind of fell in place. We talked to about five different type of organizations, and three of them were hard nosed, and we really considered two organizations, and finally went with IT Solutions, which is
Nice.
fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So post transaction, you mentioned it earlier, didn't really stick around a long time, didn't want to be a part of the Go Forward organization, and that was very intentional for both you and Heath. What was that time frame that you stuck around with the organization, and what was kind of like the big shocker for you, post transaction while still being there at the business?
Yeah, I always had it in my mind I'd stick around for like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Help with that transition. You know, we were at that point again, like the business didn't need us. And honestly, like our leadership team was like, as soon as we sold the company, they were like, oh, thank God, we don't have to work with these jokers anymore. And so yeah, I was absolutely shocked how quick the organization moved on without Heath and I. I mean, you have a solid team in there. They have clear goals and directions they're going in, which is being provided by the acquiring company ITS, and they're no longer coming to you for those things. And they're great people, and they just took that and ran with it. So quickly, Heath and I were like, oh, what are we even doing here anymore, right? We provided no value.
You
Built
had a
this great
conversation with
organization.
Heath at one point and said, "Hey, man, what are you even working on now?"
But yeah, a month into it, we called each other and like, dude, like, I feel worthless. What are you doing? Like, I'm not doing anything. I felt, yeah, it's quickly became apparent that, we weren't, everyone knew we weren't there for the long term, and um, just ran the company without us, which is a bittersweet sweet feeling, right? I mean, to not be needed in your own organization anymore. So the biggest shock to me was just how quick the transition was for me. And that's just a testament to ITS and our staff.
Absolutely.
It was really, really good fit. And they were really, they were really good at integrating the systems and the
Yeah.
people and whatnot. So yeah, it was great.
So you kind of fast forward, you're looking at transaction back in 2023. A year and a half since the event. What does post transaction life look for you now? What's your day to day? You got a giant smile on your face all the time. You were always a happy guy, but like what is life now?
I was dead inside most times. No, life's great. I mean,
But you
life's
did
great.
run an MSP, so that's pretty much
I did.
fitting.
Yeah, everyone knows what that feels like. No, life's great. I mean, it's been fantastic for myself and my family, and really been able to do a lot, and really step away and unplug from the industry and working, and did some traveling, reconnected with some people, and focus on relationships a little bit more. And it's a big transition. You go into it with your eyes open, and a lot of people, a lot of business owners struggle in this point. And it's been a year and a half for me, and there's been some up and downs for sure, but it's absolutely net positive, and I can kind of, it's the freedom to do what you want to do is really something that I value, and it's fulfilling in ways. I'm still on this new phase. I've summited Success Mountain, and I got to figure out what is that next mountain, and that's looming in the distance. And so, but right now, I'm just kind of taking a breather, and wherever the wind blows, I'll go that way right now. So
That's awesome. And you picked up some really cool and somewhat expensive hobbies post transaction. You want to share a little bit about what you like to do now?
I'm sitting in my new garage that I'm currently working on and building. It's a garage condo. It's my new office. I got my floors done, so here in a week I'll move in my fancy cars and my race cars. And I like to, I think any business owners has a few screws loose, so I like
Yeah.
to drive faster on a racetrack, and do those crazy things. And especially my peer group, you included, a bunch of nutcases. So we like to go and do fun stuff, all adrenaline junkies. And so, yeah, there's a lot of that.
Awesome. You've got, you mentioned earlier, married, oldest
Two
is
kids,
in, 2 kids, oldest is in college.
18, going to K-State,
Nice.
Wildcats.
Sweet.
Got a 14-year-old 8th grader. Yeah. My son,
Cool.
the other day I measured, he's officially taller than me. He's a basketball player, so he walks around the house and he likes to dunk on me,
Oh, perfect.
and everywhere, so.
Like every opportunity and chance he gets, he's measuring you up, letting you know that he's taller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I've got one of those little ungrateful kids too.
Yeah,
He's taller.
They're the best.
So plenty of time for them. Kind of looking back at your journey, anything that you would have done differently?
It's tough to say. So, this, we made a lot of sacrifices
Mm-hmm.
in the business.
Yeah.
We made a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things, I look back, I could be regretful for, but it's tough to, when you get to that finish line, you can step back. It's tough to say that you would really change anything. Why would I change something that may alter where I am today?
Exactly.
So it's, no, I couldn't point to anything, that I would do differently.
Yeah. Kind of looking back on that journey for me, same feelings, although I wish I would have made a few key different decisions in the moment instead of, sacrificing that time with my family, the wife, the kids to,
Sure.
Answer an email, jump on a phone call, help a client out. Like there's plenty of times where I could have been a lot more focused and engaged with the family. Little known story, I'll share it with you. On my honeymoon, there was a server outage, Linux farm. I was the only person that knew Linux at the time. And so on my honeymoon, I got to stay up all night long and bring somebody else's data center back up and running. So
yeah,
things like that, right?
I think we all have those stories, same thing at bed and breakfast, probably an anniversary with my wife. And I remember, social engineering or / sweet talking the front desk lady so I could use her computer so I could remote in and fix a server, and it's those things. We're so grateful for the people that supported us through our journey. It's you made a lot of sacrifices to get here. So, a little more balance, I suppose, would have been good. But I guess I have time and freedom to try to make up for some of those things.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, Trent, I appreciate you jumping on here today. I appreciate you sharing your journey with us. There's plenty of other MSP owners in the space right now that are staring down very similar decisions. How do you grow the business? How do you scale the business? And at the end, what does life look like? And is this all going to be worth it? So I appreciate you jumping on, sharing the story with us. Best of luck to you. I'm super excited to get together here in about a month in Colorado with Keith. Love watching all of the racing programs. Keep it on all four and just go real fast, bro.
You know it. Hey, man, I appreciate you, dude. I'm so grateful. Part of my story is you're definitely involved in it. You've been there for the tail end of it, and you definitely helped grow the business and get it to where where I am today. So I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Power of peer and coaching, man. Love it.
Dude, 100%. Wouldn't be here without it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, dude.
Take care.